Hi, this is Chris, and I'm doing this video on psoriasis and my opinions on what it is and how to fix it. I am not a doctor, don't want to be a doctor, would never be a doctor. Don't need the brainwashing to get a certificate. Uh, hey, doctors have their place. Broken bones, surgery, yeah, but they're kind of trained to just dispense medicine anymore, and it's a shame because there are a lot of brilliant minds out there who are doctors, and they're kind of prevented from exploring, new cures and things like this. The association seems to keep them under a pretty tight rein, and it's unfortunate. But we have the internet, and everything a doctor knows or will ever know or could know pretty much is on the internet, and you can learn these things yourself. I encourage you to do your own research. And also, I encourage you, anything I tell you here today, as a disclaimer, is you do your research. I'll tell you what I do and that what's working for me, but don't take my word for it. Always, don't take anybody's word for anything. Always do your research and verify to yourself that it's true. You may find a new cure for something doing that. I refuse to take no for an answer. When I saw, I started breaking out. Okay, my story, psoriasis, yay. I went through a massive amount of stress over a number of years that did not let up. Family issues, trying to keep my dad alive. Doctors were giving him medicine that was literally killing him. The doctors refused to listen. They had him in the hospital. They said his blood pressure was dangerously low, and if they couldn't get it up, he wasn't going to make it. They were giving him intravenous furosemide, which is a blood pressure drug, and not able to figure out why his blood pressure wasn't coming up. And I won't even get into that right now. That's a story for another day. But suffice it to say that every relative offhand that I can think of, my grandpas, my grandmas, my mom and not so much my mom, somewhat my mom, but not so much my mom. I'll say no, not on my mom, not on my niece who was killed in a car wreck. All the rest of them were killed by doctors and medical treatment. So I have a healthy distrust of them, and I have a reason to go out and find out the answers to what I need to know. Anyway, under stress, I've had thyroid problems most of my life. I was abused as a kid and was under immense stress because I never knew when, the fight or flight thing, I never knew when I was going to get thumped on. It could happen in the middle of the night. It could happen, I was always like under this heavy cloud. And I had ulcers when I was 6. But I was under extreme stress. And what happens when you're under extreme stress, a lot of doctors nowadays don't know this because they're not taught this anymore, is that your adrenals eventually get depleted. And what happens, your body has minerals and vitamins it operates on. God gave us that. We're from the dirt, and we need basically dirt. It's more than dirt, obviously, but we need minerals and vitamins to heal our bodies. Our bodies are self-healing mechanisms. That's how God made us. And you can tell that yourself by you take certain things and you feel better. You take there are so many things here that you've got people like Dr. Joel Wallach, you've got Dr. John Bergman, Dr. Eric Berg, excellent doctors, excellent information. Dr. David Brownstein talks about iodine. You get in there and start digging around, you're going to find out that, as I did, that almost every single ailment people have today is the cause of a lack of a mineral or vitamin. You can get too much of something. Certain areas you might be getting too much of something, and that can cause also a problem. But your body needs, like Dr. John Bergman says, he says, our bodies are smart. They don't do things, bodies do not do stupid stuff. If you've got a reaction to something, your body's trying to tell you something, it's communicating with you. Like with my mom, she started getting edema. And it's like, okay, let's see what that is. I went and looked it up. Generally, it is caused by low blood protein. And she also had extreme adrenal fatigue because she was with me trying to keep my dad alive and fighting. My dad would fight us. The medicine he was on caused dementia. It was in the list of things that it caused. It caused congestive heart failure. It caused low thyroid. All these different things it caused. And he was having all the symptoms, and it was getting worse to where he had chunks of skin falling off. And the doctor still wouldn't take him off the medicine. It was a sign of toxicity. And when my dad talked to the pharmacist, she freaked out and told him to get off of it right away because it would kill him. He didn't listen. He listened to the doctor. He's dead. The way it goes. So, getting back to that again, I'll get away from that. Anyway, with all this stress, I was starting to have issues because for 3 years, we tried to keep my dad alive. He died, and I actually literally saw how he died. I will get into that another time, but it was extremely traumatic for both my mom and I. And my sisters have been causing problems, and just suffice it to say, it was the most immense, just the most immense stress I've ever been under in my life. And it didn't stop because then my mom started acting out because her adrenals were messed up and she started getting sick. And there was a whole other thing that went on for a year with her. And then when she died, I had the executor from hell trying to cause as much problem with the family as possible. And so just stress, 5 years of complete daily stress that made me crazy. And I ended up showing things. When my dad, just before my dad died, I had a strip of skin right here. No, it was right here. That looked like a belt mark. It was red. Actually looked a lot like this. It was just like this, and it was short, but it was perfectly, the sides of it were a perfect straight line, and it had little spots where my skin was showing through that wasn't affected as the red. And what is that? It just showed up out of nowhere. And then, also I put on a lot of weight, well, most I've ever weighed. Of course, stress will cause that. What happens when you have stress and it's prolonged, it does not go, it accumulates in your body and does not leach off just because a stress event is gone. Your body stores that stress in different ways. And stress, as you've probably heard, is a killer. It affects you in so many different ways. Blood pressure, thyroid, what it does with the thyroid, they'll start finding people that have been under a lot of stress start to display thyroid symptoms, which I did. I had thyroid symptoms all my life, and I always thought it was thyroid. Well, find out later it's all caused by adrenals, because what happens with the adrenals is they get bad. They get stressed out. They don't have enough of the nutrients they need to maintain strong and take care of the body. So what happens, they try to protect themselves by closing off access to certain hormones in the body. So what happens is your cell looks like this. Okay, it's hard to see. I've got the sun in my face. Okay, there we go. And you've got a little hole there. That's where in the cells, just to make it layman's, your sex hormones, all these different hormones in your body, they will enter the cell, and your cell uses them as it's supposed to and redirects, and your body, it's like a little business. The body just does this business and to maintain life. Well, what happens is the adrenals will shut that down, so it's only getting the bare minimum to run the body. So you'll have, excuse me, if you have a blood test, it'll show that you've got thyroid hormones in your body in plenty, and the doctor will say, well, you're fine. These symptoms you have that he thought were thyroid, hypothyroidism, oh, well, they're in your head. I've actually been told that before, that my symptoms were in my head. As have a lot of people. But suffice it to say, the sex hormones, you have problems like libido, with weird hair growth patterns, PCOS. Your body will just start doing really weird things because it's not getting the hormones that it needs. You're not getting the vitamins and nutrients that you need. So everything just goes haywire, and you start having this roller coaster and cascading thing where your health just starts getting worse and worse, and the doctors can't keep up with it. So if you've got, say you're super tired, or you're very lethargic, you can't sleep, they'll give you sleeping pills, and they have side effects, a wide range of side effects. Your blood pressure goes up because you're low in vitamin D. Boom, you get blood pressure medicine. You start getting edema because you're not eating right. You're not getting enough protein in your body. Your blood protein levels drop. You get edema. They put you on some kind of a quite often furosemide. They use that. It's for blood pressure, but it also is supposed to work for edema. It didn't for my dad, but they still give it to him anyway. And doctors get, according to Dr. Wallach, the average doctor, this is your doctor very likely, gets $100,000 a year in kickbacks from the pharmaceutical companies for writing those little prescriptions. So they have reason when you walk out the door and you've got a fistful of prescriptions, that's why. Not necessarily. Ask your doctor, say, is this going to heal me? Will this drug right here heal me? And he can't tell you it will, because it won't. There are always side effects that, and it just is it's a Band-Aid over the problem. So what happens, you start manifesting other symptoms from the drugs you're going to be taking. And a lot of them are very severe. You can go online yourself. Go type in side effects of furosemide, if that's what you're on, whatever your drug is. It can be fairly benign and still have some pretty good side effects to it. Find out, go and look and pick out like 6 different sites that tell you what the side effects are, because sometimes they'll be different. And if it says rarely occurring, don't believe that, because my dad had almost every one of those rarely occurring symptoms from the furosemide he was taking. The longer he took it, the worse it got. And each symptom demanded another drug, okay? The congestive heart failure that he got, he started losing the blood pressure in his lower extremities. So they wanted to lop his legs off. He started getting arrhythmia from the drug they gave him to cover up the CHF. And it just was one thing after another, after another. And you get on that roller coaster, you're not getting off of it. And if the doctor determines that you've had a heart problem or you've had a kidney problem, forever forward, you will be determined. They'll look at your chart and say, oh, this is kidney problem. This is what we do, whether you have it or not. It could have been a misdiagnosis. Dr. Wallach also, Dr. Wallach provides citations for what he claims. He said that half of all doctors that show up to work are either drunk or stoned. Something to think about. Would you trust a drunk with cutting you open to do your heart surgery? Well, you are. People, you got to think about that. Go to YouTube and type in "Dead Doctors Don't Lie." And there's a video there. It's a couple, 2-3 hours long, worth every moment. You're going to learn a lot about what's going on in the medical industry. And I think a lot of doctors don't even know this. I dated a guy that worked at a hospital in the emergency room, and the horror stories that came out of there, you cannot imagine. So you need the best way to do well at life is to maintain your health. And if you're not healthy, get healthy. You're not going to get healthy going to a doctor. They are under no mandate to heal or cure you. Dr. Wallach comes right out and says that. I put a big store in Dr. Wallach. He's a pretty straight shooter. But as Dr. John Bergman says, our bodies are smart. They want to heal. They want to be healthy. So listen to them and realize that you are in a condition of poor health because of something you've done or something that's happened to you. And it's my contention that your health, good or bad, is determined on what you put in your mouth. And our foods now and our water in a lot of places are toxic. You've got Roundup being sprayed on grains and now legumes like kidney beans, chickpeas, wheat, barley, oat, rye. And I'll tell you something, having been sick, my immune system was really low. I started getting acid reflux. And I'd never had that before. And that happened in the last few years. I started getting, after all this stress started up, I had this patch on my neck that came and went for a couple times and went away. I started getting acid reflux and heartburn. But acid reflux was the worst. And sometimes my ulcer would kick back in. But I realized what it was when I went on a diet. I went on a thyroid healing diet. For 3 days, I got off grain. And all of a sudden, my acid reflux was gone. I'm like, really? I've eaten grain all my life. Why is this doing this? And it took me a while. I'm a person, I like to research things. I'm just like, I want the answer. I want to know what's going on. So I looked into that and found that our grain is being sprayed with Roundup. I noticed when I ate organic grain products, like at Costco, they sell pasta products from Italy. Well, they don't allow things like Roundup on their food over there. So when I had their products, I would have that say for spaghetti or whatever, and I made it from my own recipe for, the whole thing from scratch. I wasn't getting acid reflux. If I had spaghetti in a restaurant, I'd get acid reflux. So I realized the organic thing had something to do with it. One thing led to another, found out about the Roundup, and realized that my body was reacting to the Roundup. I honestly believe yours is too. Your body is also reacting to the Roundup. You may not realize it. Eventually, that will accumulate in your system, and you'll find out the same way I did. It manifested in me by this massive weight gain. It wasn't just the weight, it was a water weight. And my throat still a little bit swelled up. I ate cake a week ago. I went off, I'm on keto right now, and I went off for one day, had a piece of cake, big piece, because I want to make myself sick with it so I wouldn't do it again. Something like that. But it's the first time in about like a year and a half I had cake. So I thought, oh, I'm going to do that good. It tasted good, so it wasn't bad going down, but boy, did it make me sick. But it also affected me. I still have swelling in my face. I did this Saturday. Today's Tuesday. It was a week ago Saturday. Under here, it's all swelled up. My face is swelled up. Still from one piece of cake, from the toxins in one piece of cake. And it's doing it to me. I'm more reactive because of my condition. I'm still working on getting my body back, regaining my adrenal health and getting rid of things. But the keto diet helps immensely with that, and I'll get into that in a minute. Anyway, the inside of my mouth was swelled up. Your mouth, inside of your mouth is like an arch, right? You got the roof of your mouth here, and the back of your mouth, your throat is concave. The Roundup I was ingesting actually made the roof of my mouth swell up, so it was puffy, and instead of being this way, it was this way. It was so swelled up, and my throat was like that. At nighttime, I couldn't sleep on my back. My whole throat would close. And around my neck, I was so swelled up that it was cutting off my air. And the only way I could sleep was on my side, and that was with my neck extended so I could get air. I wasn't sleeping very well at all, because if I moved, all of a sudden my air would be cut off, and it was all from that swelling. So what happened, I looked into that. I went on a keto diet for about 4 months, 2 years ago. And I didn't notice much difference. I mainly was concerned about losing weight because I put on so much weight so quickly that I was worried about that. I didn't want to get any bigger because I knew it was unhealthy. But the keto diet, I wasn't losing weight. And Dr. Bergman said, and Dr. Berg also said, when your body is healthy, the side effect of that is losing weight. When your body starts to heal, it will let that weight go. The weight's there for a reason. It's there to protect you. If you've ever broken a bone, you'll swell up. I broke my thumb one time, really bad break, compression fracture, and my thumb swelled up really big, as did part of my hand. And that's to protect, to keep that bone stabilized. Your body smart, trying to get that tight enough to protect that bone there and to pad it. And so my whole body was reacting to this toxin, and my ankles were getting so swollen up that they were tight. And I'm thinking that I just thought it was fat. I wasn't realizing at the time before I looked into the Roundup that I thought it was just fat. But so I went on keto, things weren't happening. I got frustrated and quit. But I wasn't getting the acid reflux while I was on there. I got off of it. I'm pretty strict. I mean, I jumped into it. When I do something, I don't screw around. I went whole hog, everything keto, boom, like that. Didn't mess around with anything. Wasn't tempted by anything. I was just keto. And, excuse me, that's why I was so frustrated after 4 months that I didn't lose any weight, because my intention at the time was to lose weight. But I just noticed that I wasn't feeling good off of keto. So I thought, okay, last January, about the third week of January, what's today? Today is the 10th of February. I went back on keto, but I decided at Christmas time, okay, I'll have a few treats here and there, but I'm going to start phasing keto food into my diet, because I'm going to go keto again. And I didn't decide what day it was. It wasn't like the first of the year or anything like that. I just decided I needed to do something, and that's what I did. So I started phasing keto food into my diet. I started having bacon, because I was eating like once or twice a day, very little. People never believe me because I was so heavy. I was over 200 pounds. I think I was a size 18, and I hardly ate anything. But I was so tired. I had no energy. I was wiped out mentally, total brain fog, depressed, stressed. Of course, stressed. That was all part of that. I should have been depressed. I had reason to be depressed. So anyway, went on the keto diet, finally went, I think I was full keto within a week, and just started looking online for different things. I used a carb counter and a chronometer, the free version, to kind of track which I didn't do before, but I was tracking my carbs, and my carbs were like around 7. I just wasn't eating. It was like, because you're not eating if you're not eating grain, you're not eating legumes, a little bit of peanuts. You have some peanuts, not, you can't go overboard on that. But the main thing with keto is it's a high fat. I don't think it's really all that high, but it's a high fat, moderate protein, low carb. And what happened first was I noticed that I started, I lost the acid reflux. The roof of my mouth started flattening out and then getting concave like it was supposed to be. I quit, my throat wasn't, this happened probably within 2 weeks. I noticed that the swelling in my ankles, in the tops, all my lower extremities were extremely swelled up. The bloating started going away. I started losing weight a little bit, not a lot. I was losing the water weight. And I was just very slowly losing a little bit of weight here and there. And I didn't weigh myself. I went by how my clothes fit. I got rid of my scale. It's like, those things, the scale is like evil taskmaster. If I look good and feel good in my clothes, I'm at the right weight. Okay, that's the way I judge. So, and I don't, other people, I don't care what you look like. I mean, if you're comfortable and happy how you are, that's fine. I don't look at people like, oh, they're like, ew, no, it doesn't bother me. I only worry about myself. So anyway, I noticed that my clothes were getting slightly looser, yada, yada. After 4 months, I think it was 4 months, I noticed that, I didn't, you have a little bit craving, like, oh, I kind of miss this or I kind of miss that. I'd sure like to have some noodles or something like that. But I was looking for things that would actually help fill in that need for, like, if you don't have any wheat noodles. So is there a substitute? Yeah, there are substitutes. They're not perfect. Nothing. I mean, if it was a good substitute, everybody'd be doing it anyway, right? But it's good if you're going to be on keto. I decided that I was starting to feel pretty good, but I started noticing also around March, I was still under severe stress. The executor of the estate would not let any of us have anything and instead sold everything at auction. So we had to compete against strangers for anything from my mom and dad's estate that we wanted. It was a nightmare. It was just ridiculous. But I was under a lot of stress. Won't go into all that, but it was more severe stress, more garbage going on. And I noticed that my ears, I started breaking out around my ears. I started getting, it was like wet, and then it would just gunk over. It was like skin. I started having excess skin there. And very slowly it started coming down my neck. And I thought, what on earth is that? It was red and it was itchy a little bit. But I was so busy with things, I wasn't paying much attention to it. Now I got to tell you one thing about the keto diet. It does help with stress, because when you're eating toxins, that's the reason I went into the keto thing, which I'll do a show on keto. Anybody that listens to me on the Patriot Soapbox channel knows all about keto, because I go on and on about it, because it's something that is really good for your health. Anyway, it helps with stress to the degree that the poison in your food is a stress on your body. And that stress adds, there are different kinds of stress: emotional, physical, mental. Moving is a stress. Getting married is a stress. Getting a divorce is a stress. A death in the family is a stress. A baby in the house. A new kitty in the house. There are certain stresses. Breaking a bone, seeing a doctor, white coat syndrome, or your blood pressure. That's all stress stuff. And when that stress is passed, like I said before, it doesn't go away. The effects of it stay stored in your body, and you have to figure out a way to get that out of your body. You can take walks, you can get a massage, things that relax you and help pull that stress out. You need to do that, because otherwise it's still in your body and you'll be tense, you can't sleep, you'll have the brain chatter at night, all these different things. Anyway, that helps with stress. So that reduced a stressor, because I noticed that even though I was going through a really hard time with the deal with the house and the auction and all this, I was able to handle it a little bit better than I was before. I was noticing that I was able to handle stress, and not, because before I was out of my mind. I was just like, I couldn't sleep at all. I was freaking out. I couldn't stop talking about the weird stuff, and there was no solution. the fact that I had no solution, there was nothing I could do to rectify it, make it better, was making me crazy because I'm a fix-it person, right? So, but I did notice that the keto thing helped me with my stress to some degree. And that was because I was removing the toxins that were in my diet, because my body was in distress because I was poisoning it. And that swelling I had proved that. So anyway, I was still under stress though, and it was starting to build up. I wasn't leaching it out. So it was all building up, even though it had reduced a little bit in the amount I was getting in. I started getting this rash coming down. It came down my neck, and it, yeah, this is all wobbles. That's all from the swelling. Anyway, it came down my neck, and it started spreading across my chest. I started getting these like little red dots, like hives. And then within a couple days, they would be like circles about a 1/4 inch. Then they get bigger, and pretty soon they were joining. And it looked like, finally around October, it had gone all over, and it looked like I had boiling water poured on me. It didn't get on my face so much. I've got some right here. You can see a little bit there. It's hard to see the sun. I apologize for that. But especially here, up in my neck, but oddly enough, it didn't go on my face too much. And then it went on my shoulders. I had, and I noticed I'd take a shower, I get out of the shower, and I'd have hives and red spots. And then within a couple days, so it was spreading, and it started spreading really quickly. And I was like, oh crap, what is this? So I started digging around, because when it wasn't spreading, I didn't worry about it, but it started spreading very quickly last fall when I started staying inside more. And I realized, I got looking, and I noticed that wherever I wore a swimsuit, which I haven't worn for a long time, but wherever I wore a swimsuit, there was no red there. Like straps, I had like a white, it looked like I still had my underwear on. There was no red there. And then from my arms down, where I used to wear, I worked in the parks at the Park Service, and I wore a short sleeve t-shirt or shirt as part of my uniform. From here down, I was getting the red, but up here there was much less. And I thought, what is going on? And around my belly button, I had really red, started getting really red there. So I looked it up, and I thought, contact, it's got to be a contact thing. I thought maybe I'm allergic to my cat. Somebody recommended that. So I took the cats out of the bedroom, shut them off. They couldn't go to the bedroom anymore, washed all my clothes. And I thought, well, maybe it's my laundry soap, because I wasn't getting better. So I took and changed laundry soap to a dye-free, fragrance-free laundry soap, washed everything again. And then I thought maybe it's something else, and I washed everything again. So all my clothes, everything got washed 3 times within a couple of weeks. Still no remedy. It started itching really bad. It felt almost like mosquito bites, or like a bee sting when it starts healing, when it itches so bad, and then you scratch it and it hurts. There was no relief, and it was just making me crazy. So I thought, okay, it's not, and I thought around the house, maybe I'm allergic, maybe there's mold, maybe there's this. So I was going through the house trying to figure out if it was something there. Then I thought, maybe it's what I'm eating on the keto. Maybe I'd incorporated something in the keto that was affecting my body. So I was trying to rule out everything I could. I didn't want to go to the doctor, because the more I looked it up, the doctors, all these people, thousands of people had the same kind of rash, didn't know what it was. The doctors didn't know what it was. They just give them cortisone, steroids. They give them steroids, and it's like, oh, that helped a little bit, but it didn't really do it. I didn't want to be tied down to steroids for the rest of my life, because I knew I wasn't getting this rash because I was low in steroids. I knew that wasn't the problem. So I knew it would, I mean, to me, it's a Band-Aid. I don't want a Band-Aid. I want to figure out what the heck this is and cure it. There's something causing this, and I just have to figure out what it is. So I started getting back to the drawing board, and my first thought was psoriasis. A long time ago, I thought maybe psoriasis, but I just couldn't, it's like, I just couldn't find enough pictures that really looked like it. But I was at the early stages of that time. Once I finally started getting really red, and it started really going, I looked it up. It's like, yeah, this is, and I looked at the symptoms. It is a stress trigger. It's autoimmune. And what really gets me is doctors say, we don't know what causes it, but there's no cure. And I'm like, what? If you don't know what causes it, how the hell can you say there's no cure? It's like, oh my gosh. It's like they don't want to look stupid or something. I don't get it. I don't get that. But it really pissed me off. I thought, yeah, I'm not falling for that. no, I'm not going there because, and that just told me stay the hell away from the doctors. All these people were saying, I've been to the doctor for years. I've been suffering with this for decades and no doctor's ever been able to make me better, tell me what it is. And I thought, okay, that means I need to do some work. So I apologize for the light. My curtains are whatever. Anyway, that was troublesome. So I thought, okay, this is up to me. I'm going to have to figure out what this is. And the thing I like about doing stuff like this, if I can figure out what's causing it, I get to share that and help people improve their life because they're not being improved by the doctors. I mean, and then really the doctors in this case, they go to school for 7 years, sometimes a little bit more. And they get out of school and they're busy paying off their college loans. They don't have time to do deep dives like this, like you and I do. And I had a doctor back east, Dr. Bruce Ryan, tell me 20 years ago, he said, with the internet, he says, what are you doing asking me what's wrong with you? He says, go find out what's wrong with you and get back with me and tell me what's wrong with you. He says, it's all on the internet. Go find out. And he's like a world-class doctor. He lives in Washington, D.C. If he's still alive, I don't know. He may not be anymore, but he's a super smart guy. And he's the one that first told me that, yeah, you got adrenal issues. You need to take care of that. It's not your thyroid, it's your adrenals. And I thought, oh man, I've been researching adrenals for 20 years. I think it's adrenals. And I didn't respect his opinion on that. Then I had Dr. Derry in Vancouver, BC, who was a thyroid, pretty much a thyroid specialist. He said the same thing. You got adrenal problems. It's not thyroid. Because I'd done everything I could to fix the thyroid and it wasn't working, right? Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, long story short, doctors, they don't know you as well as you know yourself. You're going to have some that pretend they do with the ego thing, but you're probably seeing the wrong doctor anyway then. So anyway, so I'm going out doing this research, found pictures, and I thought, okay, this came on with stress. It's an autoimmune disease. I have low thyroid. I have adrenal issues. This has got to be tied in because it came with the stress. So I started digging into it, and sure enough, almost everybody that I saw online that had this problem, this came on with the stress. And people I've talked to since, I said, was there a big stressor in your life that actually finally pushed you over the edge and you got this psoriasis? And they said, yeah, there was actually. And Dr. Berg talked about this in regard to weight gain. He said, what was the stress that triggered your weight gain? He says there was a stress that triggered that weight gain. So when you look at things in that, the more you learn about things like this, it's pretty amazing how the body works. So I have all this read. I have all this stuff going on. And I found a website. I will have to go back and find out. I think it's Relief from Psoriasis. It's run by a lady up in Vancouver, BC. And she showed pictures, before and after pictures, of someone who had used high dose vitamin C or vitamin D3 to help get rid of their rash. And I thought, oh my gosh, I started thinking about that. I thought vitamin D3, this psoriasis gets worse in the winter when there's less sun. It's worse in the upper tiers of the United States than it is down south. I thought, okay, D3. So let me take off my sweater here because I'll be showing you guys some stuff. Anyway, so she has before and after pictures. And I think I might have found her by going to a website that was put up by someone who showed a doctor in Brazil, figured out that high dose vitamin D3 and a low calcium diet, like low dairy diet, helped get rid of these things. So I'm going to share with you. I'll have to dig it up. You guys will have to bear with me here. I'm hoping that I'm able to. Okay. I don't need audio on this. And I'm totally unprepared, so forgive me. I want to find, I'm gonna do a search here. It's gonna let me type. Uh-oh, it doesn't want to let me type. I just got a new used computer and I'm having problems with the typing. I'll pull up some pictures here because what I'm doing is I want to give you guys hope for, did it go? Did it go? Oh, it's still working out. I have apparently a slow internet connection today. And you're going to find ad. Look at all the ads here. All the ads, they want you to take drugs. Okay. I should type in Brazil. I'm trying to think of the name of the vitamin wiki. Here we go. I think this is it. I went into the Harvard thing. I went to these different sites and I was looking for the answer to what was going on. Is it going to take me there? Come on, you. There we go. Anyway, I got into the site and I started looking at the pictures and reading this. As a 35,000 international unit a day vitamin D ritual for 6 months helped all psoriasis sufferers. This is in 2013 in Brazil. A pilot study assessing the effects of prolonged administration of high daily doses of vitamin D on the clinical course of vitiglio and psoriasis. Also, yes, so vitiglio, remember Michael Jackson had the white spots in his skin? Guess what? This lady had a low calcium diet. She is a doctor in Brazil. Says autoimmunity has been associated with vitamin D deficiency and resistance, with gene polymorphisms related to vitamin D metabolism frequently described in affected patients. High doses of vitamin D, and that sounds high, 10,000 international units is only 250 micrograms, okay? It sounds like it's a massive amount, but when you look at it that way, it's a little different. So, high doses of vitamin D may conceivably compensate for inherited resistance to its biological effects. I don't think that it's inherited resistance. I think it is affected directly by stress. I think stress uses up your vitamin D stores. And apparently, once you have got to a certain level of low D3, your body will start to reject sunlight because your body converts the sun with the D3, right? So I noticed that I started getting sick when I went out in the sun. I used to work in the sun all the time, okay? Anyway, the study aimed to assess the efficacy and safety of prolonged high-dose vitamin D3 treatment of patients with psoriasis and vitiglio. 9 patients with psoriasis and 16 patients with vitiglio received vitamin D3 35,000 international units once daily for 6 months with a low calcium diet, avoiding dairy products and calcium-enriched foods like oat, rice, soy milk. Oh my God, stay away from soy, people. And hydration. So I believe, now when you take the vitamin D3, you need to take K2 with that. For every 10,000 international units, you need to be taking 100 micrograms of K2, and you need the MK7 version. I'll show you the bottles of the stuff that I'm taking. I am not telling you to take 35,000 international units a day. I would not do that. You need to research this on your own and decide what's best for you. Talk to your doctor if you have one, and look into this yourself. Research this yourself to make sure that what I'm telling you is something you might want to look into. So anyway, I want to show you, if you've got psoriasis, this is what my neck and my chest looked like. It was just starting to get this white stuff on it. And I'll tell you in a minute what's going on there. This is 6 months later. And taking vitamin D3 and low calcium diet. That's what happened for this guy. Okay, if you know somebody that's got vitiglio, we're not talking about that. I don't have experience with that. But this lady here, see how her skin, she's got the white spot. Isn't it interesting that psoriasis is dark skin, vitiglio is white skin? That's very interesting. So you've got before and after. You can still see a tiny little bit left, but this is only 6 months. She might have got on this for a year. We don't see pictures of her a year later. So I wanted to show you that. That is vitamindwiki.com, and just type in that with Brazil, March 2013. It should pull this study up. There were other studies that went with this. So I'm going to get back off. I'm going to stop the share. Now I want to show you this. No, it's backwards. Sorry about that. I didn't think about flipping the camera. This is max potency D3, 10,000 international units per capsule. It's a supplement. I got this from, let's see if I can hold it back here where you can see it better. There you go. I got this from Amazon. Yeah, I should have flipped. I didn't think about flipping the camera. 400 soft gels. I think it was like $12. This is from Carlyle. Max potency D3, 10,000 international units. Says promotes strong bones and teeth. Okay, I take this. This is what I do. Not telling you to do this. This is what I take. This is according to that wiki site. I take 3 of these a day. And I take half a dropper of this. This is marked. This is Sunvite Liquid Vitamin D3. And I apologize again for the sun. I'm trying to see if I can, oh, here we go. Like I said, it's all backwards. Puritan's Pride. You can get this off their site. You can buy like 3. They give you a cut on the price. There's 59 doses in here. If you take a half a dropper, it smells like oranges, tastes like oranges, but right here is half a dropper. It's marked on the dropper, and then here's a whole dropper. Half a dropper is 5,000 units. A whole dropper is 10,000 units. It has a great taste to it. I put it in my coffee in the morning, so I've got 35,000 units. I was taking 20,000 units a day, using up an old bottle of vitamin D3 that I had, and I wasn't noticing. I noticed a little bit of improvement, but when I started upping the dose, I started noticing a big improvement. I'm also taking vitamin A. This is 10,000 units. I'm taking 2 of these a day. I knew that there was something, the skin, it was part of the skin vitamin issue, because your skin is an organ and it needs vitamin A and vitamin D, vitamin D3. This is, there are 250 in here, non-GMO, but this is 10,000 international units. I take 2 of these a day. It's by Bronson. And again, I apologize for the, everything's backwards. Look in the mirror. Put your mirror up there. So I take these 2. And at some point, I will back off and probably be taking only 1 of these a day once my skin gets better. And here's the K2 that I take. This is Now Vitamins. I get this. All of this I got off of Amazon. You don't have to, I mean, I just look for the best price. This is MK7, vitamin K2, 100 micrograms. So for every 10,000, you're supposed to take one of these for every 10,000 units of vitamin D3. Lately, I've only been taking 1 because I have a feeling when I take all 3 D3s together, I think it's enough, but that's just me. Because the reason you take this is it helps take, the D3 helps to release things into your system. You've got calcium issue. I have always had calcium issues. It was coming out in spots in my skin. My body was not appropriating it properly. It wasn't going into my teeth. It wasn't going into my bones. It was free throughout my saliva glands. It was coming out of my saliva glands. I had chunks of it. Excuse me. And this will help your body. This K2, vitamin K2, when taken with the D3, will help your body put that stuff, put the calcium where it belongs instead of going in your knuckles and, you know, causing arthritis and all that. This will help your body put it in your teeth and bones where it's supposed to go. Good stuff. I would never take this without this. So, one more thing. Dr. Berg recommended D3. He talked about taking the D3. He also said that he believes that the issue for psoriasis is leaky gut. He thinks that is the basis of it. And I thought, well, I've always had pretty rotten digestion. I thought, and I like Dr. Berg. He does extensive research on endocrinology. Also, my hair was falling out. I lost 4/5 of my hair. Can't even find my little, you know, those little tiny ponytail things. I have to double that now to get my hair back in a ponytail. I used to stretch them out to where they were that big around. I could only put it around twice. I had massive amount of hair, but it fell out. So I started taking collagen in my coffee in the morning. I've been doing that for about 4 months, and I noticed it's starting to come back. I'm getting hair coming back now, which is a good thing. I didn't want to be bald. So anyway, Dr. Berg said leaky gut. He said this glutamine, Glutamine, he said take 30 grams of that a day. Well, this container, I bought this on Amazon again. This container, it would take 6 of these little things a day. It's not very big. Let's see if I can show you. It's not very big. It has a really odd taste. Odd taste. But what I do is I take sweet drops by, I apologize for the sun again. I get it off of Swanson Vitamins. You can get it, I think you can actually get it at Walmart now. I'm not sure. Maybe not. You can get it on Amazon. Sweet drops. They have mango. They have raspberry, lemonade. They got all these different flavors. And I'll just put a little squirt of that in a glass of about that much water. And you start out taking, for a couple days, just take 2 of these scoops a day. Okay? 2 scoops in water a day. And for 2 days. And then bump it up to 6 of these, because these are, 1 scoop is 5 grams. You want to have 30 a day. So this should last about a month or so. I'll be getting more. I'll probably do this for 2 months because I can't imagine. He said this will help heal the leaky gut. This vitamin D3 with K2, he recommended. He has a video on that. That's Dr. Eric Berg, B-E-R-G. And he's big on keto. He's big on this. The guy's brilliant. He really is brilliant. Got some great information out there. But you take this on an empty stomach, and I split mine up. I take, as soon as I get up in the morning, I haven't got anything in my stomach, I will put this in a glass and take it and then chug it down. And about 20, 30 minutes later, I'll have my coffee. And that's when I have the orange in my coffee. I'll put this in with some cream. Being keto, I do cream in my coffee, and that's pretty much breakfast for me. Anyway, I've noticed this stuff started helping, and I got this brand because one of the ladies that was in Berg's replies, she said she used this and it worked for her. And I like having someone say, okay, this is what I got, this is what worked, and if it worked for her, it should work for me. So this is what I'm taking. The price wasn't that bad. So with all the red I had, what I ended up doing was, when I get in the shower, I take a hot shower. They say you shouldn't, but I do, because cold water would kill me. My body temperature is already low. So I decided what I would do is I'd take a wash rag and just scrub, because I'll tell you what psoriasis does. Your body goes into a weird mode. I forgot to tell you about this. This is my theory, and I think I'm right. When you get low D3, your body wants more D3. It's desperate, and I'm to the point where I'm severely low, right? And I was thinking, okay, so I've got this pattern where I've only got psoriasis rash where my underwear is not. And I'm thinking, okay, so if this is a sun issue, I'm not getting enough D3 from the sun. I'm not converting it anymore, so obviously I'm not getting it. I thought, what's my body doing? My body is turning my skin dark. I mean, it is dark, dark red. It literally looks like I scalded myself. Only in the places where I had been burned before. Because I have white skin, man. I'm whitey. I'm like sheet white. That's just my natural habitat. I'm just a white skinned person. So I would burn easy when I was a kid. And I noticed that where my skin was dark, my body was trying to get sun. Okay. And like around my bikini line and then my belly button. A lot of people that get psoriasis have it around the belly button. I'm thinking, okay, where do your nutrients come from in vitro? When you're in your mom's uterus, your body is taking nutrients from her through your umbilical cord into your stomach through the belly button. That would include D3, right? So the belly button is the reason it's dark red. The reason you've got it where you've been burned is, this is just my theory, is that the body is darkening your skin to absorb as much sunlight as possible, desperate to grab that D3. And also what happens with psoriasis is your body will put out, instead of taking 3 weeks to put out a layer of skin, it's doing it in 2 or 3 days. And so what it's doing is trying to get these skin layers out there to grab as much D3 as it can from the light, from the sunlight, trying to process that so that it can grab that D3, because it's the only thing it knows. Your body is smart. It's trying to help you. It's trying that. This whole rash thing, I believe, is a desperate attempt by my body to grab D3 and put it into my system, because it's saying, man, it's freaking out because it's not there. So what I do, once I figured that out, okay, that makes sense. And it's sorry for scratching, because it does still itch a little bit. Some people hurt. If you get far enough down the road with this stuff, your skin will start cracking and bleeding. And I've got a few spots where it started doing that. There were people talking about having to throw their clothes away because they were so blood soaked. And most people that get this after, and it doesn't get better on its own, it gets worse. And it'll eventually spread. Some people have it all over their body. And you don't sleep at night because you're scratching. For some reason at night it's worse. Maybe because you're not in daylight, but when you're trying to sleep, it's like, oh my gosh, it's like laying in a bed of red ants biting you. And some of it hurts. Some of it feels like pinpricks. I've got spots, 2 nerve spots on my arms. One here, one right here. Whoops, here and here. That feel like somebody is jabbing me with a pin. And I just have to push on it and kind of massage it. I think it's a nerve issue. This is affecting nerves inside my arms. But people can get it. You can get it in your fingernails, in your eyes, in your mouth. It's just horrible how this progresses. So, as you know, I was pretty desperate to take care of this. So what I do is I went and I thought, okay, I've got to find something for this. And I was looking for calamine lotion. So I went to Walmart and I asked the lady, where's your calamine lotion? And she showed me. And I looked and I thought, wait a minute, I see stuff here for psoriasis and eczema. So I started reading the box, and it has pictures before, during, and after. This one poor woman, her hand was, it swelled up. It was damaged so badly that her hand was swelled up. And within a day or so, you could see the swelling had gone down a little bit. And then after, I think it was 8 weeks, her skin looked normal. And that was from using this cream. Now I'll show you what it is. Now, like I said, though, this is TriDERMA. They have 2 different kinds. They have one that is with oatmeal, colloidal oatmeal, and one with salicylic acid. I'm using the salicylic acid. Also, it's got allantoin. This helps with seborrheic dermatitis also. I think it's kind of the same thing. But this is TriDERMA, $6.88 for a box, and it comes with a little travel size one. Yeah, there we go. But I started, what I was doing is going into, go take a shower, and I would take a washcloth and scrub pretty hard wherever I had this rash. I'd scrub really good, because what I'm trying to do is get off the outer layers, because the skin replaces itself so quickly. I think that's part of what makes you scratch, is because you've got new skin coming up, and the old skin is kind of like your body naturally wants to pull that old skin off. So I just go in the shower and I would debride myself. It doesn't hurt. And I thought, those little mitts, the little nylon mesh mitts are used for like a scrubby. That worked better, because then I didn't have to worry about it. It just worked better. And I put a lot of pressure on, and I got one for each hand, get them at the dollar store, and just scrub down really, really good. Make sure everything is, and I'll feel, because sometimes you'll get a little thick bump, and I would just keep scrubbing on that till it was gone. And when I got out of the shower, my skin was soft. It felt smooth. And the first thing I would do is put a very thin layer of this on wherever I had that rash. And it helps quite a bit. It really does help with the itching. Without that stuff, I'd be nuts. I couldn't sleep at night. It does remove the itching really well. If I get an itchy spot, I'll just take some, and I keep it by the bed. And if I get a spot, I'll just rub it on there, and I can go right back to sleep again. So anyway, getting to where the sun's getting behind there, so that's good. My arm, let's see if I can show you. It's so hard. I'll have to wait till the sun goes back a little bit. Beet red. I've got, I kind of see one little red spot here, but like I said, it started out with speckles, and then the speckles would grow and get bigger and bigger and bigger. But this cream helped a little bit, but this is just a cover. This is not a cure, in my opinion. It's not, you're not low in salicylic acid. That's not why you've got this. You've got to supplement your diet with the things that stress uses up. There are certain vitamins and minerals that stress will use up. Now, Dr. Wallach said copper. He said you're low in copper if you've got psoriasis, and that opens you up to aneurysm. He said you can get aneurysms. And I believe that because my finger right here, my mom used to have this happen right here. I had a blood vessel break about a month ago for no particular reason. It just broke. And it kind of hurt. It's like, it just poof. And my mom used to always get them in that same spot. And I thought it's something in the house because I'm living in my mom's house now. But Dr. Wallach said it's low copper. And he said you need to supplement with copper and selenium. Selenium helps the copper absorb into the body. So I started doing that. I'm out of copper right now. You can get that at Swanson. You can get copper's pretty cheap to buy, as is selenium. So I need to get back on that again. So I've shown you quite a few things here, but obviously you are probably under a lot of stress if you have psoriasis or whoever it is that you know. And it might be somebody you think, oh no, there's nothing wrong. They're not stressed out. But I honestly believe there's something going on. I also had a bad tooth with an infection and that, I mean, I just had stress after stress, a lot of things. And I moved last summer. So all this stuff kind of popped over on me, but no, it started spreading down. So I got on my legs and so far since I've been taking the glutamine, I just upped the dose to 30 grams a day about 4 days ago. And I am noticing a big difference. My arms, I still have the red there. And something really weird about this stuff is your skin gets thick, but it gets really wrinkly. It's almost like elephant skin where it's just weird. It's like it all gets crinkly, wrinkly looking. Okay, like a burn. It looks like a burn. If you've ever seen anybody that's been burned and their skin gets really tight and they've got those strands of skin, that's what it looks like. Excuse me, but yeah, I had patches of it going here and there. I still have it a little bit, but as I said, this is just to help you guys out to look into things that you can try that may help you. Also, dead sea salts have minerals in them, and they say it helps people that have psoriasis and eczema. Well, of course it would, because it's minerals that your body is lacking from the stress you've been through. You take a soak in that. If you've got open sores, it's going to sting a little bit. Also, this stuff here, it might sting a little bit in certain places when you first put it on. That goes away in about 30 seconds. So suck it up. I mean, it's something you'll put up with because it's so nice not to itch. If you have this, you're scratching all the time. So let's see what else. But the keto diet, when you're eating things like Roundup, stuff with Roundup on it, or soy, GMO things, your body's gonna freak out and go into distress. And I mean, like 20 years ago, you hardly saw anybody in a wheelchair. I see people all the time in wheelchairs now. 20 years ago, you didn't see that many overweight people. Now, if you see somebody slim, they stand out because so many people are overweight. And I honestly, in a lot of them, I don't think it's fat, because I eat probably a tenth of what I used to eat when I was a size 7. I don't eat that much at all. And I didn't when I was fat. I mean, I'm still fat, but not like I was. Heavy people, you'd be surprised, don't eat what you think they do. You'll have a few that do, that crave things, but like carbs. Also with keto, you're going to lose your carb cravings usually. But I do have a keto server in Discord if anybody's interested. It helps. There are a lot of keto people out there. Keto Connect is a good one. Keto Jinja, Jinga, I think. Redhead gal down in New Smyrna Beach. Excellent. Lots of recipes out there. They'll help keep you healthy. There are a lot of people say, oh, keto's bad. But you know what? People have been doing keto for 30 years and they're in great health. You have to make sure that you're supplementing with certain things. You have to drink enough water, and be careful when you drink water to also supplement with minerals and vitamins. My favorite, very favorite, is Youngevity. Dr. Wallach devised this decades ago. The best multivitamins. Let me pull it up on a share here. I would not tell you about this stuff if it wasn't fabulous. This stuff is the best I've ever seen. I got really good results from it, and that's why I'm telling you about it. So we'll go to longevity here. YOUNGEVITY.com. I get the basic. When I took this stuff, it worked for me. If you take the pack, it will actually give your body the nutrients it needs to help rebuild bones, cartilage, discs in my back, things like this. And that is Dr. Wallach talking, and there he is right there, a little picture of him. You can find him on YouTube. And the people that put his videos up on YouTube are basically, they're resellers of this stuff. See if I can find it here. They are resellers, and you can buy it from them. Or I go to YouTube, or I go to Amazon or eBay if I want to just buy one, like if I want to get one thing. But I'll show you the basic pack, the top seller. This is the one right here that I took. You're supposed to take one, excuse me, one pack for every 100 pounds of body weight. Well, I was well over 200 pounds. I couldn't afford the price of 2 packs a month. So I just took one, and I still noticed a really impressive health improvement with this stuff. 6 weeks after I started taking it, I noticed a remarkable health improvement. So this is the start pack. This right here, the Osteo Effects, healthy bone and joint support. It tastes really good. It's got a vanilla flavor to it. It's a powder. You can mix it in. You can make it's got collagen, I think, in it, some other things. That's what I think helped my back. I was in a bad car accident in '94 and had severe issues in my back, bones crooked and discs crushed and all kinds of disc problems. So this here helps rebuild that stuff. And I noticed I wasn't able to stand for more than 5 minutes. My back would just start hurting so severely. After taking this for 6 weeks, I actually stood for 9 hours on a concrete floor and had no pain. And I didn't realize it because I was in a stress situation at the time. I just realized it, like the thought popped in my head. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm still standing. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe. And I asked my mom, who had scoliosis. She was taking this with me. I said, how's your back? And she just kind of looked at me like, oh my gosh, it helps so much. These are EFAs. The price on these is pretty consistent with other EFAs, but I trust Dr. Wallach's quality. So I just take these in the pack. This is Tangy Tangerine. If you listen to somebody like Alex Jones, I don't know if he still sells this or not. I don't listen to the guy, but he used to always talk about Tangy Tangerine. Like him or not, doesn't matter. He probably sells this stuff because he is a distributor and makes a kickback on it, which I don't have a problem with. Somebody wants to make money. You can be a wholesale distributor of this and make money with it. Good for you. But that's why Dr. Wallach gave the company to the employees. He doesn't own the company anymore. He gave it away so that people could have jobs and be self-sufficient. Anyway, back to the story. This is packed with vitamins and minerals, and it tastes like horse manure. Oh my God, there is nothing tangy or tangerine about it. They can't mask the taste of this stuff, but it is by far the best of minerals and vitamins that I have ever found. It is powdered. You mix it with water so that it is bioavailable. The nutrients will go into your system super fast. When you take a regular compressed vitamin, your body can only break it down so much, and then a lot of it passes out. I mean, it goes in one end and out the other, and you're wasting all that money. Well, this has, if you went and bought these things that this contains separately, it cost you a fortune. So $133.95 sounds expensive for this pack. But when you add it all up, that's for a month. After a couple months of taking this, you're going to notice such a difference. If you're really sick, especially, that you're going to be impressed. And like I said, I get mine on Amazon or eBay, and you can get it cheaper. I've seen it for $95 on eBay. So that's for the whole pack, by the way. That's for the whole set of 3. And this should last you a month. But no, this is by far the best I've ever found, and that's why I promote it. Plus, I like Dr. Wallach. He's a pretty cool guy. He's a doctor. He is a veterinarian, and he spends his life trying to educate people on health and how to stay healthy. He's in his 80s, like mid 80s, maybe 84, something like that. And he's still going strong. He travels like 300 days a year and does a show, 4-hour show, 2 to 4 hour show every night, and then has a week. I think he still has his weekday radio show for an hour. Super smart guy. Really like that guy. Anyway, let's see. Is there anything else I need to talk about with this? I probably dragged it out long enough. Let me do a stop share here. Anyway, again, this is Youngevity, Y-O-U-N-G, like young, EVITY.com. And there you can see how it's spelled right there, Youngevity. So that is my recommendation. Your mileage may vary. Some people can't afford that, and I get that. That's a lot of money, especially on a restricted income. But how much is it going to cost you to see a doctor, and then cost you for your medicine, and cost you for surgery, and getting your legs lopped off, and have somebody come in and clean your house for you, or take you from point A to point B? You have to look at the long-term effects of this, because the whole point, what I'm getting at, is if you're not healthy yet, get healthy. Eat properly. Stay away from, if you can possibly get organic food, get it. If you can possibly have a garden, grow it. And, grow it where you're not going to try to do it like not next to a highway where your ground isn't contaminated. You can put it in a container garden. You can grow tomatoes in a pot. You can grow carrots in a pot. You can have that if you live in a city and you only have a balcony, you can do that. It's a pain in the butt, but you can do it. And what's your health worth? You want to be around for your grandkids and your kids and all that, but get healthy first. And if you're already healthy, be proactive, because it's a lot harder to regain what you've lost than it is to just make sure that you stay healthy. If you are able, get out and walk, get out and do things, try to stay active, get up. If you have stairs, up and down the stairs, go do whatever, do a little extra walking, or if you can, just do what you can, and eventually you're going to start feeling better. And I'll tell you, with the keto people I have talked to, I interviewed a man on my show. I am Chris Croy on patriotsoapbox.com. We have a 24/7 news channel where it's all volunteer. I'm a volunteer. I have a show Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. I talk about keto sometimes. I talk about a lot of things. You name it. We have a live chat room that I look at, and I interact with the chat. So if people have questions or have comments, that's what I do. It's a lot of fun. And if you can possibly get there, it's a lot. You'll get addicted to the channel really quickly, I think. But try to get yourself healthy. And I was going to tell you, I interviewed a man from Australia, and the site that I belong to, a lot of anonymous names like Anon. He was Babylon, Babylon on me, something like that. He lived in Australia, and he was overweight from the time he was a kid. I think he said since he was 13. He was on 13 different medications, and he was 55 when I talked to him a year and a half ago. He went on keto, and within 7 months lost, I think he said 155 pounds, 170 pounds in 7 months. And he got off all of his medications. He was a type 2 diabetic. He was on blood pressure meds. He was on, you name it, he was on it. And he talked to his doctor before he went on the keto thing. And his doctor's, I don't know if you should do that. You better not do keto. That sounds like a crackpot thing. And he says, look, doctor, I'm not getting better. I'm 55. I'm going to die. He says, what have I got to lose? And the doctor's, of course the doctor, you got to admit, if the doctor doesn't know about keto, or he's only heard bad things, of course he's going to try and talk his patient out of it. But Babylon said, nope, I'm going to do it. So he did it. He started losing weight really quickly, but he said he didn't exercise. I never exercised. You don't feel like it. Don't exercise until you feel like it. But he said he's finally felt like he's going for a walk. So he got out and he started going for a walk. He said he'd never done that before. And he walked, and pretty soon he walked farther and farther, and he had a trail he walked on with a lot of people. And he says after a while he started losing weight, and they felt like jogging, so he started jogging. And people noticed. They said, wow, what are you doing? You're looking really good. You're losing a lot of weight. And he told them, keto, that's all I'm doing. And you don't get hungry on keto. Is a pretty interesting thing. I'll have a talk about that, let you know about it. But anyway, he got off all of his medication. And the last time I talked to him, I only saw him 1 or 2 times after I talked to him. He had already lost almost all his weight. He started running. He was feeling really good. And I think what happened was he got his life back. And that's why I didn't see him again, because he'd been at the channel for a long time. He got his life back and went out and started living it. He wasn't restricted to his house anymore, and he felt great, and he was getting out there and probably for the first time in his life feeling normal. So, and off of all the medications with all their side effects, it was a great interview. He was, I talked to him a lot behind the scenes, and I think he was nervous on air, which a lot of people are, but no, he was a good success story. And I've got other people on air are in the chat room that come out and say, I've been on it 6 months. I got off all my medication. I've got off, I'm no longer diabetic. So it does help. It's what you're eating that's making you sick or making you well. Quite literally, I think that's it. And it's up to you. You're the one putting the food in and making the choices for what you're going to eat. So try to make really good choices and look into the keto. I will do a show on that and let you know, and try to answer questions. I'm trying to think how I can do that. I need 1,000 subscribers to my channel in order to get a live broadcast. And I'd love a live broadcast, because then I can answer questions as the show is there. I can look at what you're saying and you can ask me questions and I can answer you right then. So again, I apologize for the horrible light. It is what it is. I've been putting off doing this for a couple months, but I thought, well, if I don't do it now. So anyway, I hope you got something out of this. And like I said, you can come to watch my show on YouTube. We're on Roku, we're on DLive, we're on Twitch. There are several avenues, but you can go to www.patriotsoapbox.com and you can watch the live shows. Like I said, I'll be on tomorrow night. This is Tuesday, February 10th. I'll be on tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. And if you have questions, you can catch me there Monday, Wednesday, Friday nights from 8 to 10 or 8 to 11. So I'll call this a wrap. I've been chewing on your leg too long, but I hope you got something out of this. I probably forgot something, but I'll catch up with you next time. So without further ado, y'all have a good day and see ya.